Hey, Lowco football fans, here we are. It's Friday night. It's 11 o'clock. It's time to talk about everything that happened tonight out on the Lowco high school football scene. I'm Justin Jarrett, joined by Wes Kerr. We got a lot of friends lined up to join us tonight, Wes, to talk about all these games that went down tonight. But let's get through the scores real quick before we get too far. We will announce the scores, but do want to shout out our MVP sponsors who make this all possible. Talk about them a little bit later, but Mickelson Law Group, Homegrown Home Inspections, Hospice Care of the Low Country, and Megan Jarrett, Realtor from the Pierce Group, making Lowco Pigskin Live possible tonight. Wes, I was out at Colleton County. Great atmosphere there tonight, really hyped up. Hampton County comes away with the win, 10-0 in a defensive struggle. Both teams played really well on defense. I was only there till halftime, but getting updates from my guy Justin out there. You were over at Battery Creek. Hilton Head wins big, 39-6. We had this one as a closer game than that, but not the case. The Seahawks looking good tonight. You'll tell us more about it here in a little bit. Looking for a score from Ridgeland St. John's, if we can find that one. Cane Bay knocks off Beaufort 29-10. I watched the second half of that game or listened to it on the way home. It wasn't a 29-10 game. It was 16-10. Midway through the fourth quarter, Beaufort had the ball at midfield and had to punt it away, and Cane Bay ended up scoring twice late, but much more competitive than that. Beaufort's going to be fine. Bluffton rolls 41-6, although they did lose quarterback Owen Bays in the first half. We'll see if he is back next week. Savannah Christian routs Hilton Head Christian 49-0. Bethesda blows out Hilton Head Prep 50-7. So our wishful thinking didn't come through there, Wes. And John Paul II, the big upset, I guess you would call it. First win ever over Thomas Hayward, 28-21. Beaufort Academy over Pinewood, 27-23. And I know a couple are missing on here. Patrick Henry winning big. What was that, 55-0 on that one? Yeah. So we got some more lopsided scores than I kind of thought we would have tonight. But we did have some very competitive matchups. BA pulling off a big win there, but I guess let's open with you. Tell me about these Seahawks, man. 39-6. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and the thing that impressed me most was the grit on defense and just the consistency that they showed on that side of the ball. Shike Thompson really set the table early, but it was all 11 players out there were flying to the ball, knocking down passes, really all playing in sync. And Battery Creek's only score was off a kickoff return. So a tremendous defensive effort. It was a weird sequence. Hilton went up 14-0 on a scoop and scored, and Battery Creek scored on the kickoff directly after that. So we had a scoop and score and a kickoff return. So for Hilton Head, tremendous defensive effort, really setting the tone. It was definitely an ugly game in the first half, and that's what you expect for an opener. Both teams are going to come out most of the time. You'll see teams come out looking to establish their rhythm, and you see some sloppy play, turnovers, penalties. And I thought both teams certainly had their lumps in this game. Battery Creek, they found a way to hang in this game in the first half, and they were clogging up the holes for Timko early on. Timko wasn't able to do much, but once you got to the second half, he really started to wear the Battery Creek defense down, and that's when Hilton was really able to take full control of this ball game, and that's the identity of what BJ Payne likes to play with. They're going to be a scrappy team who's going to play hard on defense, and then when you get into late in the third and the fourth quarter, they have a power back who can just wear you down. And the offensive line continued to battle for all four quarters, and there's really nothing Battery Creek could do. Although there are a couple guys that really impressed me for the Dolphins. I thought the defense held their own early, and we saw a couple good signs from Battery Creek on the offensive side. Olsen, not a bad effort at quarterback. He made some strong throws and a couple dimes on the sideline. But just the consistency wasn't there for him. But you got to give a lot of credit to the way that Hilton Head High's defense took advantage of Battery Creek's mistakes. Ended up forcing a couple important turnovers in that game, and really an all-around performance from the Seahawks in a game that I thought would be a little bit closer. Hilton Head was the better team, and certainly they would say themselves that they had some mistakes they made in the first half that kind of kept Battery Creek in the game. But once they really, found their rhythm and got into what they do best, and that's running Troy Timko blocking for him, and then letting Jackson Bybee do his thing in the pocket. Jackson Bybee was excellent in this game. He made a 90-yard touchdown pass, which is really a lost assignment from Battery Creek to Javarian Hamilton, and then Jake Huggins from a fantastic roll on the run, dancing around the pocket. Jackson Bybee, stuff that we've seen from him before, but this was really impressive. Just threaded the needle to the end zone for a cutting Jake Huggins. Really solid first game for Jackson Bybee. This is a guy we had some hype on going into the season. I think he certainly lived up to it after one game, and certainly a long way to go in this season, but I like the way he's approaching things. He's got good poise, good confidence out there, and he made some spectacular throws when this team needed to tonight.
Yeah, great to see it. We talked before the sorry, I've got double audio going over here because I have somehow messed up and I can't hear myself through this one. So we got some kind of weird deal going over here. Technology gremlins are getting me today, but we talked earlier about Bybee having that opportunity to be the guy, and we thought he would flourish in that role. And so far so good. It's one game, but a great sign for him. Unfortunately, his counterpart Owen Bates, like we said earlier, leaving midway through that Bluffton game. So hopefully he's going to be okay and be back next week. But huge win for the Seahawks. And then I was over at Colleton County, and I got a minute and 32 seconds until I'll have some highlights from that game for you that we can share. But going through the scores again, if you're just joining us, Hilton Head High 39-6 over Battery Creek, Cane Bay 29-10 over Beaufort, Bluffton 41-6 over Beach, Savannah Christian 49-0 over Hilton Head Christian, Bethesda 50-7 over Hilton Head Prep, JP2 with the big win 28-21 over Thomas Hayward. That one was on WHHI, or will be, and we'll have Marcus Walsh on shortly to talk about that. And Beaufort Academy 27-23 over Pinewood, and then we're still looking for that score from the Ridgeland St. John's game. If you happen to have that one, hit us on something. Hit us in the comments. Let us know so we can pass that one along. Oh, I just had a power blip again when I said it was almost a replay of the other day. But I was out at Colleton Hampton. Really interesting game. Hampton comes out and gets the ball first, or supposed to get the ball first, and Colleton does a little pooch kick, recovers it, and is right there on the doorstep. Could not punch it in. Hampton's defense really stepping up in the red zone, and then Colleton gives it right back. Hampton, I mean, it was defensive struggle. Both teams making stops in the red zone. Colleton made several stops in the red zone, held to a field goal once, kept them out of the end zone all night until finally Zion Dobson got in there late in the third or early in the fourth quarter, make it a 10-0 game, and that's the final. But really encouraging from Adam Kinlock's team to see the energy, the enthusiasm, the really sound play on defense is encouraging for sure. And let me see if I can get my highlights up here from this game. Computer's having a hard time. It's not in midseason form yet. Still working it out. But let's see here. I got a few minutes worth of Colleton Hampton highlights for you, including some from my guy Justin in the second half after I left. So let's see if I can get these babies loaded up. Rainbow Spinner. Great atmosphere at Colleton tonight, man. The turf was terrific too. It was soft, but man, it looked pretty. It was just so nice and smooth tonight. I loved it. Here we go. Here's the coop. Trying out a new camera. Got a sweet new camera.
Love the fresh news for Hampton County Hurricanes.
Yeah, those games are very fun. Very fun. Lagging on you too, or just mine?
Still waiting for it to load, but
it was hyped up out there, man. Here we go. Opening kick. Nice little pooch. Oh no. Looked like the opening came up for his needed to throw it out tonight. Couldn't get it in the end zone. Oh, we have a comment. And my computer's struggling out here, folks. We got it in the end zone, but it came back. Flag on the play. And that Hampton defense is pretty nasty. Man.
Yeah, I mean, this was a terrific defensive game, but I think the biggest takeaway is what Colleton County did. You know, there's a lot of hype in this game with the amount of guys on the roster, and to hold Hampton the number that they did, that says a lot about that group's fight and compete level heading into the first game of the season. Definitely a solid sign heading into these next few games if they can continue the effort. Obviously, the first one is always a unique one because you got the high energy now. Can you keep that with you and build from it and get into the rest of the games? It's a great defensive battle here, and this is everything you want in a rivalry game.
That's my fault. I don't know what's going on here. Close this one out. Technical issues. Coming across. We better now? Nope. How about now? There we go. I think we got it sorted out. Yikes. Sorry about that, folks. All right, we're going to scrap these highlights because my computer's not handling it tonight. We'll scrap the highlights for now. My computer is not handling it tonight, but we'll try to get that worked out in the future. But great defensive game. Zion Dobson with a touchdown run. He had another one called back. Justin got a video of that one. He said he stepped out on the 40. He didn't. It was a touchdown. Should have been anyway. So Zion had a nice night. They had some center to quarterback. Exchange issues. I think we're going to see that for a couple of weeks. Probably Peyton Bueller was such a rock for them last year, and we saw the same thing a little bit with Buford too. Hart Cushman was such a rock at center last year, and they had some trouble with the exchanges tonight. So those are things that will be worked out over the course of the season, and I think Hampton's going to be a force. That defense is going to keep them in games. And I am freezing up all over the place, but goodness sakes. Computer's on the struggle bus, guys. Talk to me, Wes.
Yeah, Mandrell Sanders, I'm sure he was a big part of that defensive effort for Hampton County. And, that was, once again, a terrific rivalry game. Exactly what you want to kick off that kind of a local rivalry that you hope to stay in. Is really cool to be part of something special for this first inaugural game for Hampton County. And certainly they could have wished it would have gotten a little better, but at the end of the day, you take the victory and you take what you learn from it as you go on the season. And reversely for Colleton County, you got to be proud of how you handled yourself against a very solid team and an offense with Zion Dobson and with a couple of talented guys under center. And speaking of which, what did you see from the two quarterbacks for Hampton County? What were you able to take away from their play?
I had to switch up. Ooh, is that still bad? There we go. I had to switch things up there because I was not getting any audio off that other feed. But so we did not see both quarterbacks, as a matter of fact. Xavier Garvin, violation of team rules, I guess you would say. I asked him. He was in street clothes. I asked him, "Did you do something stupid?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Don't do it again." And he said, "I won't." And so that was that, So Chris Terry got the action under center. He looked fine. I think they're a different team with Xavier at quarterback. Not necessarily better, just different. And so, I think we'll still see probably a little bit of both, I think. But Xavier, he made a mistake first week of school and got to sit this one out and he'll learn a lesson from it. And that's how it goes sometimes. He knows what he did, but it was good to see him and he's in a good place. He's going to be fine. So yeah, we got to see him again now. We got to go see Hampton again now, see what they look like with both quarterbacks. But they got the job done tonight and Colleton, I think Colleton's going to be a factor. Nick Williams is, Man, he's something else on defense. Brian Hamilton looked really good on defense, made some good tackles, had a pick in the end zone that there were offsetting penalties, so they had to stop him again. They had to stop him twice at the end of the half to keep it 3-0. So good defensive struggle. Two pretty solid football teams, I would say. But let's shift gears and talk about the WHHI game of the week. I'm looking forward to watching the replay of this one because it was a Donnybrook 28-21 the final for John Paul II getting the win. Let's get Marcus Walsh in here. Marcus, what's up, buddy? Big win for JP2. We all called it. We all called it today on game day.
We did. My goodness gracious.
CT4, 4 touchdowns, yeah?
It was crazy, yeah. Christian Tilton, 4 touchdowns. He was our MVP. Daniel Court had a chance to talk to him. I certainly was talking with Shane Milligan before and after the game. I tell you what, this was just weird because first quarter, there were a few different times where we had timeouts, that type of thing. Flags were flying everywhere. And then the second quarter, that's when the action started. There was 2 touchdowns in the span of, I think it was 43 seconds to open up the second quarter. And then track meet. And Christian Tilton was just absolutely incredible. He was fighting through a little bit of an injured thumb. Possibly Daniel noticed it and talked about it in the later stages of the game, possibly throughout the entire game. He and Tony O'Banner and a couple other guys for both teams were starting to cramp up because it was hot. It was really hot. It was pushing 90. And it was just Christian Tilton throwing the team on his back. 4 rushing touchdowns.
And he does.
He's went like 10 yards. Little whatever.
Game of the week.
He was just flying down the field. He did it against Hilton Head Prep last year when we saw him. He did it again in these big moments. And I tell you what, there were other players for both teams that ended up stepping up. Dante Aiken had a very nice game defensively. Bryant Jolly in the backfield had a very nice game. Will Bryan in the second half did some really good things. Unfortunately, he went out with a knee injury. He ended up getting his knee iced and then was on crutches towards the end of the game. He went right by us where we were set up on the sideline in our WHHI tent. Daniel Snyder had a huge second half, particularly on D. We were talking about the Snyder brothers, the battle of the brothers. Daniel had the edge in the second half over his brother for sure. But I tell you what, on the other side of things with THA, Tony O'Banner, couple of big touchdowns. He was starting to cramp up and struggle a little bit towards the end of the game. I think that was a big reason why THA just couldn't hang on. I don't think they have quite the depth that they've had certainly in years past. They just didn't have enough tonight. Ryder Smith with a big touchdown catch in the first half of the game on just a toss up the seam over the middle of the field. It may have been like a 40 or so yard touchdown pass, but it was a play where, you had to do a lot of switching around on the fly. If you were Ryder Smith to make a nice grab, you'll see it, of course, on the game. Cutter Williams had a nice game on both sides of the ball. Offensively, made a couple of big plays. Defensively as well. Mitchell White did a really nice job, certainly in special teams, and did some things for THA. Caleb Snyder made some big plays when he needed to, but things kind of got out of hand there at the end, obviously. And I use this term because you guys use it a lot, and Justin, you especially use it a lot. I used this term multiple times in the second half, talking about number 54, Bo Pinkney. I actually made a comp of Brian Urlacher to Bo Pinkney because they wore the same number. He reminds me so much of Urlacher just at that middle linebacker spot. That dude is a dog, not a D-O-G, a D-A-W-G. He was absolutely insane tonight, making some huge plays for THA. This game, and we saw THA, Daniel and I did, against Bluffton 2 years ago. It was the first game that we ever did with each other. And that game went into overtime. And doggone it, we almost had another overtime game tonight. And I tell you what, to have this game as our opener was absolutely amazing. I just had a feeling, viewing the guys at media day and listening to you guys and going over notes and that type of stuff, I was like, if there was any time that John Paul II could pull off a win, whether you categorize it as an upset or not, this was the time. And doggone it, they came out and they just played. They played their hearts out. Both teams did. And I think at the end of the day, Shane Milligan just has a little bit more depth on his team than Tony McGarry. We talked about both coaches. Both teams are going to be really fun to watch this year, I think, even though it may be a little bit of a down year, in my opinion, now having seen them in person for THA in 1A. We'll see what happens. I'm even more excited seeing what John Paul did tonight and figuring that they have a chance to really do some things and improve on that 4-win record that they had a year ago, seeing them in person, than I was when I talked to you guys at 12:45 this afternoon, because I saw them in person and it was incredible. And next week, not to get the cart too far before the horse, but next week we've got Buford Academy and Hilton Head Prep. We'll see how that goes.
That's a bit of a mismatch.
This one's going to be a tough one to beat in terms of what we saw top to bottom, just everybody going out. Yeah, the flags were flying and whatnot. And it was first day for the officials too. But wow, I can't wait for you guys to see it. I can't wait for our crew to see it. I'm going to watch it again, and then I'll probably watch it again. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. What a night. Oh, what a night.
Well, I love watching these kind of games, and I'm sure you guys did a fantastic job. But, reflecting overall for the victory that we saw from the Golden Warriors, how big of a win is this to be a team that you haven't been able to take down? You do it in the opener. That's got to bring a huge surge of energy with you as you prepare for the rest of these, non-region games. How big of a win is this for Shane Milligan in this program?
Wes said is a dynamite question. I was thinking about it as we were calling the game into the fourth quarter. It's like, holy cow, they actually can pull this off. You have to go back to 2017. I wasn't even there. I hadn't called games for WHHI for 3 years, or I hadn't been doing anything with football, 16, 17, or 18. Bob Stevens and Chris Tremblay called a game between Hilton Head Christian Academy, who, oh, by the way, was still coached by Ron Peduzzi back then, and Kevin Wald. And I believe this was indeed the first year of JP2 with football in 2017. 26-20, John Paul II wins it in overtime. I remember watching the game, or at least part of it, especially there towards the end, and people were like, this is the biggest win in this program's history for sure, and it may even be the biggest win that they'll ever get. Well, tonight is right up there with that. And we talked about it. I mentioned it with Shane at the end of the game, just going back to that moment. Obviously, he was not in this area then. But talking about that and talking about his keys just for putting a hat on a hat, making sure that they can make things happen, get the best out of their best players, including Christian Tilton, and they did all of that. I opened up with the interview saying, well, we talked about what you needed to do during the pregame to win this game. Did it fit the bill? I said something along those lines, and he said, yeah, we did everything that we needed to do. And then Christian Tilton, he's just such a humble kid. He said, I certainly was able to work through a lot of the stuff that I was going through injury-wise and whatnot, cramping up and that type of thing. But he gave credit to his offensive line, and they did a great job. Both teams, the trench play, the front seven play was just very, very strong in certain pockets of the game. Of course, when you're dealing with athletes like Christian Tilton, Antonio Banner, and a bunch of others on all sides of it, we certainly hope the best as well for Will Bryan, who had to leave with a knee injury in the second half. But when you're dealing with athletes like these, the front seven and the offensive lines and the trench play predominantly, it's not going to be great all the time. But both these teams really gave it all they had, worked their tails off. This was just a thriller to call. And it's, like I said, it's going to be hard to beat. But this will go down, if not as the biggest program history defining win to this point for John Paul II, probably their second biggest win in program history.
Yeah, they got to a state championship game. So winning that semifinal game, that was pretty huge too. I would put that up there as well. But this is definitely a big one. This is one you look back on when you beat your rival. They are in the same county technically, so it's a big win for them. And I think with it being Milligan's first game too, that raises the stakes a little bit. You get a little more buy-in after you get that big win in game one. So I look forward to. I think they're a team that could cause some trouble for people this year for sure. Tilton is the real deal. So be sure to catch the replay on WHHI all weekend and then all through the week. Marcus and Daniel Court on the call. Thanks so much for jumping on with us, man, and filling us in. And we'll see you on Friday for game day.
Sounds great. If I can just say one thing that I think I forgot to mention earlier today, I certainly have to give a shout out to Joseph Keith, Maria Soden. I mentioned Jeremy Pope. We mentioned him during the broadcast. Couldn't do it without those three. Larry Giacomott's tremendous. I call him the wizard. He's phenomenal. But we really couldn't do what we have been able to do over the years with the likes of Wayne Morris, the former GM of WHHI, still with Burn Media, and then Jessa Jeremiah. She is absolutely phenomenal, what she does. And, I mean, you guys know it, especially you, JJ, as well. She's just tremendous. And this was really a special night for all of us. We had Kevin Libby back on our crew, and he's going to be doing some different things with us for football season as well. Just a great way to start a great year of football for sure.
Outstanding stuff, man. Well, we look forward to hearing that voice on the WHHI games all weekend here on the podcast with us on game day and live. Hopefully we can get you in every time. Give us those sweet buttery tones. Very nice. Well, we appreciate you, Marcus. Have a great night, man. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you on the flip flop.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, and keep rocking on.
All right. Good to talk with Marcus, and we got to take a little break here. Not a break, but we'll roll on in just a moment after we recognize our MVP sponsors. We mentioned them at the top, but Mickelson Law Firm is our number one sponsor from the beginning, still with us 6 years later, a testament to the people and community supporters that they are. Ryan and Tiffany always laying out to help people in the community, and they're going to do the same for you. If you need any legal advice, any legal representation, they run the gamut, but they are the official real estate attorneys of closing attorneys of Lowco Sports, and you can use them to close your deal after you buy that house with my wife and our official Lowco realtor, Megan Jarrett from the Pierce Group. She's our biggest supporter. She's the one who continues to let me do this. And she's now an agent with the Pierce Group. She's ready to help you find your forever home or your starter home here in the Lowco. She's going to work hard for you to get you exactly what you need. Make sure you're making a wise investment. Again, that's Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of Lowco Sports and the queen bee of the Lowco Hive. And when you make that purchase, you want to make sure you're making a good purchase. So you call on Jan Lucas and Homegrown Home Inspections, another MVP sponsor. Went on a ride along with Jan a little bit back and got to see him as the mayor of Margaritaville out there. Everybody loves him. He's helped them make sure that their houses are built well when they get in there, and he can do the same for you. His phase inspections are really his bread and butter. Loves to be your eyes and ears throughout that building process. Make sure you're getting a quality home, and you can call the Homegrown Home Inspections to get that home inspection. They'll take care of you. The official home inspectors of Lowco Sports and the official hospice care of Lowco Sports is Hospice Care of the Low Country, the only not-for-profit hospice in Southern Beaufort County. And they also have palliative care. So it's not just about end-of-life care for them, but also about chronic pain management and in-home services. They really care about their clients, their patients, and they want to make sure that you have a positive journey as you get to the end of life. It's not about dying at Hospice Care of the Low Country. It's about living, and we're living life to the fullest now because we're in football season, Wes, and we've got another friend ready to join us. Old Strychnine, Jeffrey Strickland, big Patrick Henry Academy fan, a fanatic, alum, Skeeza football historian, I think we could rightly say.
What's going on?
Had a blowout on your hands tonight, buddy. 55-0 for the old Patriots.
Yeah, really not much to talk about, to be honest. 6 o'clock kickoff. It was miserably hot. No shade. I mean, it was bad. By the time 7:30 rolled around, it was like, well, everybody, it would have been a pretty nice kickoff if we would have started at 7:30. But I think we scored on every possession. Cross is they're really young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be a few years before they're in it, but I mean, their quarterback, he looked like he had to be a freshman or something. I mean, they were really young.
Yeah, he's a young guy. Just came in from Andrew Jackson last year. Played on the JV there. Kyron
Okay.
Bogus. I know they like him, but he is awfully young and awfully small at this time. You know, so. But you guys got some depth, and you got some big old boys over there.
Yeah, I mean, we have the biggest team we've ever had, and we got 40 kids on the roster this year. And usually we're working with between 20 and 25. So
You've been
really
playing 8-man up till last year.
Yeah. I mean, but the guys who showed out today, it was the usual names, the Fairies and Michael T. And we got one of our senior running backs, Hunter Cook. He scored a touchdown. And I'm looking at all the stats here; they're all over the place. I was putting them in max preps while y'all were doing the Thomas Hayward game. But let's see. Hugh had a rushing touchdown. Hunter had a rushing touchdown. And Michael T. had one. 3 receiving touchdowns. We had our second string quarterback, Rylan Brunson. He transferred from Hampton County. He threw a touchdown pass. And so everybody was getting in on scoring tonight.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, it was a pure business effort for Patrick Henry. What did you like defensively? Were there any standouts or any big plays that caught your eye?
Well, Michael T had a pick 6, and we had 2 other interceptions during the game. One of our new guys, TJ Johnson, he came from Hampton too. He had a pick. I think it was Cross's first possession, and put us back on offense. Of course, we scored again. But it was – I'm trying to think. It was the longest first quarter I think I've ever been involved in. I mean, it was an hour, and when the buzzer went off, some of the kids were like, "Is it halftime?" I said, "No, that's just the first quarter, y'all. Like, we still got 3 quarters to play before this game's over." It was something else.
The second half probably went pretty quick though. Had to run the clock.
Oh yeah. I think the clock started running in the second quarter once we hit over 40. Yeah.
Very good. Well, a little bit bigger test for you guys going forward next week.
Next 2 weeks.
Look ahead. Next. Oh, are you off? Are you off next week?
No. We got St. John's, and then we got Lee. So I mean, it goes it goes from 0 to 100 real fast for us.
That was kind of like preseason game.
Yeah.
NFL, and the next one matters a whole lot. So. It should be interesting for Patrick Henry, but nice opener. Got that one under your belt and got everybody some reps. And I know you're excited about this season. I know you were mad at West for not talking about your guys enough.
Yeah, West talks about Thomas Hayward too much.
I love Patrick Henry and the vibe that you guys have, and I think there's something to say about championship culture. What happened last spring with that baseball team, what they did. How does that carry over? Because you got a bunch of those guys who were stars on that team who are also stars on this football team.
Yeah, I mean, the guys are hungry. They won in baseball. They're ready to win in football. And single A is wide open this year, I feel like.
I agree.
Of course, I don't know what Lee's got. I know they had some guys graduate, but I feel like it's our year if we want to take it.
I think it's there.
Yeah, we had some issues today. We were a little sloppy, some penalties and stuff like that. But first game stuff. We'll work it out in practice this week, and I think we'll be better off next Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be a common theme tonight. Everybody's going to be a little bit sloppy, although it sounds like Hilton Head was pretty sharp. So that's good stuff. But
they were sloppy as well at points, but all in all, pretty solid effort for week 0 against a pesky Battery Creek team that definitely had their moments in that game. So that was, and I should have some highlights. If our computer cooperates, there are some highlights that we could try to.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get to those in the back end here if we have time. But Jeff, thanks so much for jumping on, man. I know not a lot of excitement to talk about tonight in a blowout game, but we appreciate you and hope you'll become a regular with us on Friday nights.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll get some other coaches. Maybe some of the kids. I can get them on. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys put on quite a show for us on the Lowco Diamond Dudes, so you'll have some back to follow.
I know.
Set the bar high. Well, thank you, Jeff Strickland. We appreciate you, man, and we'll talk to you real soon.
No problem. Good to see y'all.
I love Strickland. He that dude knows more about skis and football than anybody I know. I mean, he's got tomes and tomes of research going back through the years. Pretty interesting stuff. He follows it closely, but appreciate having him on the show. And we appreciate also our varsity sponsors. We'll give them a little shout out here. DDS Web Design back for another year. We're online all the time, Wes. We're online talking to these people all the time. They're always showing up to listen to us talk for some reason. And everybody's online, but if you have a website that's not getting traction online, then you need to do something about that. Or if you don't have a website at all, you need to call DDS Web Design. They'll get you up and running. Use the best SEO tactics to make sure that you get found online and generate new business. Dave and Denise and the team at DDS love to work with small businesses and nonprofits to help them get more out of their website, think bigger, and do more. So check out DDSHHI.com and tell them Lowco sent you. And our new friends out at the Parker Law Group, they've been serving folks with legal needs in Hampton, Colleton, and Jasper counties for years. And we appreciate their support as a varsity sponsor to allow us to continue to expand our coverage out into those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. And let's get back into the games, Wes. The champs made their debut tonight, and it was a rocky one for Buford. Lost 29-10 to Cane Bay. That game was 10-10 late in the third quarter, and then Cane Bay scored. Buford got the ball back, had to punt, forced a punt, but then they coughed it up. Actually, I think they punted it back. Cane Bay scored. Then they coughed it up. Cane Bay punched it in again. So it ends up looking like kind of a lopsided game at 29-10, but really very competitive for much of the game. And, again, that first game sloppiness a little bit for Buford. I saw some center quarterback exchanges. I saw some drop passes, saw some missed assignments, some missed tackles. That led to a couple of long touchdown runs. And so, a little disappointing there, but nothing to panic about. I mean, you lost to a quality 5A squad, and you still got 9 more in front of you before you get to the playoffs. And, Buford lost one early last year to Fort D and had to come all the way back. So, I think this team's going to be just fine. Again, we know that Bryce Labron likes to be tested early so he can see where the weaknesses are, and they can go get better and be better next week and the week after that and the week after that. So, they'll use it as a learning experience, a growth experience, but certainly a tough way to open the title defense on the road.
Yeah, you want to win that first game after capturing the state title, but also it's important to think of the big picture, and Bryce Labron knows that. That's why he schedules these tough games against 4A, 5A schools, quality schools at that level at that. And this game definitely more competitive than the score would indicate. A 10-10 contest late into that ball game, and then a couple turnovers and missed opportunities for Buford ended up being the difference, giving Cane Bay the win. But just overall sloppiness that I know Bryce Labron will talk to his team about and correct, and get themselves ready for a rematch with Fort Dorchester. And of course, a lot of emotion, because that will be the first game at home after winning the state title. So it'll be another memorable, emotional game with the fans will be hyped, and it should be a great atmosphere as Eagles getting win common. What should be another tough game. Fort Dorchester, they've been right up there for the last few years in Class 5A. So another high stakes, high level test. Every game is high stakes. You want to win them all. Bryce Labron knows that, but he knows mostly that these games, at the end of the season, you want to win them, but you want to use them to correct the things that you're not doing well, and that's at the end of the season. This might be the loss that kind of motivates, and kind of you think back that could be a turning point, especially if you. Even if you don't beat Fort Dorchester, but you play to a higher level against them, that's an improvement. That shows an improvement for this team. And Buford was right there. They were hanging neck and neck until the very end. So a couple of mistakes late, but I'm not panicking at all. This team's fine, and this team learned a lot of new faces. It takes time for Labron to kind of tinker with everything and get the team to where he wants to be come playoff time. And I think he's definitely going to do that. And another exciting game back at home as Eagle fans welcome back their state champions.
Yeah. Be good to get back to the nest. I know that opening on the road's always tough. Home crowd's always hyped up. Home team's hyped up. Got the refs. The refs may not give you anything, and we heard from one of our friends that was at the game that the refs were not being kind to Buford early, and I don't worry too much about that. I watched enough football games to know that they usually miss some on both sides. That's usually how it goes. But and it's a tough L. It's a tough L, but it's an opportunity to get better for a Buford team that we expect to be right there at the end, right in the mix when it comes down to the Class 3A playoffs and getting down to that lower state final. So we'll probably see them slide in the polls a little bit this week. I imagine there'll be a little overreaction to that one game sample, but they'll be fine. They'll be just fine. No need to. We were worried about them like 2 or 3 games in last year. Remember, they aren't scoring any points. What's wrong with Buford?
Oh yeah. Well, that Goose Creek game, I believe, there's
3-0.
Yeah.
Well, they had I think they scored like 6 points in their first 2 games or something, and we were kind of panicking a little bit, but they were fine. And the Bobcats looked pretty fine tonight. But Brady Sacha told me he's got to work too early. He can't get on with this tonight. He just got back to the school, and he's got to work at 7. So we don't get a report on the Bobcats from him tonight, but he was all over Instagram. He had service, unlike me. So he was posting the reels all night, keeping us up to date. And the Bobcats win big in that one. Don't remember. It's 41-6. Is that the final?
41-6 over Beach.
Yeah, got him good. I don't have any stats in front of me, but that's an impressive showing. Owen Bays went out in the first half of that one with an injury. Aiden McCarthy came in and finished it off. You hope that, they were up big already, so you hope that was precautionary, that you take him out and get the pads off and everything. Hope to see him back next week. Who do they have next week? No, I have it in front of me. We'll be better. We'll get better too. We're a little sloppy for week 1. They got Jenkins next week. They should be in pretty good shape there. And then a pretty good test with Woodland. So I like that Bluffton team. They're going to –
I like that schedule too. You got those games you have a favorable shot in, and then you get to the Woodland's going to be a big test. There's classifications down, but that's still a quality team. And then you get into some of the local games, Creek and Buford. Buford always being a great test for Bluffton, and Eagles took care of business last year, but I expect this one to be a little more competitive. We'll get to that one in a few weeks. Excellent start for the Bobcats, and Hayden Gregory's group was dialed in. Defense was sensational. Jeremiah Curry most likely leading the way in that department, but combined as a whole, Holton Beach to 6 points. Defense doing a great job, and then I just hope that Owen Bays, that you mentioned was a precautionary move, that they'll get him ready for next week against Jenkins, because he's going to be a big part of the offense this year, and just the speed, elusiveness, and there's always threat of him in the run game and in the evolving passing game as well. So I expect to see a lot more, hopefully, from him coming up next week. But this is everything you wanted to see. Other than that, from Hayden Gregory in this opener.
Yeah, really good showing from them. Defense getting it done, just giving up 6. Offense putting up points. So just what they wanted to see. I mean, that's kind of what we expected, and that's what you want to do in week 1. Is do what you're expected to do, live up to expectations or exceed them. Moving on down the line, we had Hilton Head Christian at home tonight. We knew it was going to be a tough one for them, but took it on the chin, 49-0 to Savannah Christian. I mean, that's a absolutely loaded team. We talked about that defense, how stacked it is with Elijah Griffin and David Busey, who are both major D1 prospects. I mean, Busey's already committed to Carolina. Griffin's got offers from everybody and their brother. He's going to get to go wherever he wants. So really impressive defense for Savannah Christian, pitching the shutout. But they did the same to Hilton Head Christian last year, and that ended up being a pretty explosive offense. So, I don't make too much of it. That what was supposed to happen happened there.
It was a mismatch. Savannah Christian just a level, another tier above Christian Academy, and that's not a team you're going to have to go up against. I don't think there's a 3A team that's going to be on the level of Savannah Christian with those kind of nationally recognized recruits. You just flush it down. You move on to next week, and you kind of try to use it as fuel as you move forward. You never want to you don't want to go down in a blowout like that, but seeing just how good and how much of a quality team that is, you just got to put behind you, move forward in the schedule, and I'm sure that Swift Lampedusa will preach to a team. It's a long season, and this is the part of the year where you're trying to learn what you have, learn what you improve on, and that's exactly why you schedule up and play these tough games. So you got Wilson Hall. That's a target game in my eyes. That's a game they should win, but it will be a tough game compared to based on what Wilson Hall did last year. I expect it to be a good game. They're gonna have to be solid on both ends of the field if they want to get that one done. And I'm sure Dylan Clark and that crew, that offense, is going to be ready for a bounce back performance.
Yeah. I think that should be a competitive game. I think Hilton Head Christian will be fine too. I'm not worried about it. Again, like you said, there were 3 or 4 players on that team that are well beyond anything they're going to see in Skeeza this year, I think. So that was an uphill climb to say the least. But Pinewood Prep is one of those teams that we thought would be right up there in 3A2, and BA pulls it out, man. This one was back and forth all night. BA comes out with a dub, 27-23. We're looking for some more info on that, and we'll track it down. We're not in midseason form yet. My haul back from Colleton kind of put me in a bind too. So looking for some more details on BA, but we'll get that in Lowco First Down for you. But on the surface, at least, huge win for that team. They were down in the second half, able to pull it out.
Huge 2 wins to start the season, and this time, coming from behind late, showing that mettle to withstand some adversity. So Nick Shuford's team really, really impressive, and Dietrich Shuford looks the part of a guy who's not fazed by that kind of pressure. And against the Pinewood Prep team, who has been excellent offensively, holding them just 23, and find a way to pull out a win, that's pretty solid. So for Buford Academy, you couldn't ask much more from the Eagles for these first 2 games against 2 quality opponents. I think the offense really suits them well with the threat of Shuford, and then the threat of Porter and Devontae Green, and some weapons out wide like Zeke Gonzalez, and then just a really hard-nosed defense that played well against a really good Pinewood team. So just a lot to be excited about. Now you get you get a little more easier games coming up, but much rewarded because now you definitely got to stay focused. But these are the 2 games that kind of we're going to tell a lot about Buford Academy, and I think this team is looking like not just a real contender, but maybe the favorite in 2A.
Yeah, I mean, I said they were last week, and I haven't changed my mind. I think they're the team to beat in 2A, and I think they believe it. And they're a really good football team. I mean, haven't seen them play in person on the sideline last week. They got some big dudes. They got some size. They've been working in the weight room. You can see those guys are jacked. I mean, Trip Gregory and Jackson Porter and Devontae Green, like, they are big, strong cats. They're tough to bring down when they have the ball. So I think they're going to be a problem. This was a huge win for them over Pinewood.
Do we talk about those? Probably were. I mean, you do have Williamsburg, but I mean, do you see? You got to think they'll be favored, and although Hilton Head Christian Academy, that'll be interesting. But I mean, I think.
Oh, you talking about undefeated?
I'm poking the bear.
I mean, on paper at least, like, Hilton Head Christian and Williamsburg are both really good challenges. I think Bethesda, you never know about Bethesda. They sometimes have a good bit of turnover, either guys coming in, guys going out, or both. And so you don't really know sometimes with them until 2 or 3 weeks into the season. I think there's just a lot of movement within the Savannah private schools year to year. And so, we've seen years where they weren't the same team at all. And then other years where it was like out of nowhere, they were just amazing because a couple guys came in. So that score against Prep tells me they're improved from last year. So I think Bethesda may be a factor in there as well. That we find out more about as the season goes on. But I mean, I think BA is as good as anybody in that league, and has a really good shot to be playing for it all. Nick Schuford, like he's got a knack for getting to that championship game, man. He's been in it. I can't count how many years out of the last however many years, but it's all but one out of the last however many years, and it's 8 or 9. Like it's a lot. So the dude can coach, and he's got some talent to work with. So I like their chances. But let's shout out some more sponsors, and then we'll round up the rest of the games. The Lowco Booster Club. We got 4 members so far. Always looking for more. Hit us up at lowcosports@gmail.com. LOWCO sports@gmail.com. Get started for $50 a month. And we've got Prime IV Hydration and Wellness joining us this year. Just opened a couple of months ago in Belfair Town Village. I'm hearing rave reviews. You feel amazing when you come out of there after getting that IV drip loaded up with all the vitamins and minerals you need to get your body feeling right. Now you get to sit in a massage chair and get a nice relaxing massage too while you do it. So go see Max at Prime IV. Let them know Lowco sent you, and they'll get you feeling right. And if you need to get a little chiropractic adjustment to go along with that drip, go over to Rooted Living Wellness and see Ambrose. He will take care of your whole body, get you cracked up, but also focus on any areas that are giving you problems and see if you can work those out for you. He uses the ART chiropractic method. That's the go-to for athletes and that type because they can really work on those sore muscles and those sore joints and things like that and get you feeling better so you can perform at your best. And we got Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. They'll get those floors feeling right. If they're a little sticky, your shoes are sticking to them, whether it's wood, tile, or vinyl, Chris will get you cleaned up, and he can also take care of the carpet and the upholstery while he's over there. So get your furniture all cleaned up after the kids made a mess of it this summer. Call Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. They'll get your floors so clean, your feet will thank you. And finally, Eagle Creations, one of the best full-service promotional products and custom gift baskets providers here in the Lowco. They're over off Argent Boulevard. Got a great little showroom where they got a lot of their products available, and they can order anything for you. You usually go to a 4M print or somebody like that. Nah, keep it local with Eagle Creations. They can get all those same products for you, and you can keep the money right here at home. So those are our Lowco Booster Club sponsors so far this season, Wes. And just a few more games to round up before we call it a night. Not a whole lot to say about a couple of these. Hilton Head Prep losing 50-7 to Bethesda. Don't actually have a score yet on that Ridgeland game. Still looking for that one. And then the one that we do want to talk about, though, Carleton Prep 33-23 over Florence Christian. They were down late in that one and went on a little flurry at the end of the game to come out with a 10-point win. And, we talked earlier today about that was a game that really opened our eyes to Carleton Prep last year. And we thought it was going to be a competitive game again. But, man, the Warhawks find a way to pull this one out. And, Greg Langdale, the dude, he's having a good run over there the last couple of years at Carleton Prep.
Yeah, I mean, he can coach. And Florence Christian still has one of those Huntley brothers running around. So that's still a quality team when you get one of those players to worry about. But what an excellent opener for Carleton Prep, running it back just like they did last year. Kind of a shocking win over a Florence Christian team that I expected
on the road too.
Yeah,
it's a good win on the road.
That's never easy. Cole Davis is a stud. He's a stud, and what he does at quarterback, not just the leadership, to the presence, and then man, he can make some big plays and big moments, and he can chuck it deep and just make good reads and make the right reads. He just has that experience to take over when it matters the most, and he lives for those clutch opportunities. And this is another close game where they had the rally from behind, offensive line doing its job, putting up 33 points, and the defense holding tough against the Florence Christian team. It's still with a solid, conglomeration, a solid group of players. But that's a very, very strong opening win for Greg Langdale's team. It's hard to really say how good Florence Christian is going to be. It's also kind of hard to say how good this college prep team is. Once we see some more results over these next few weeks, we'll learn more about what this team can accomplish. But so far, so good. We knew that this was going to be a competitive game, and Carleton Prep, it definitely was close. A 10-point margin to tell the story, but really a fantastic way to start the season for a team that lost a lot, especially on the line. So to produce the way they did against Florence Christian is a great sign, and it all comes back to the extraordinary play of Cole Davis and that offense, that scoring flurry. We've seen it so many times that Carleton Prep team, and they do it again here tonight to open the season. So could we see a similar script? Obviously, a long way to go, but I like what I see so far, and we'll see if they can continue that trend that we saw a year ago with them. So different team, different look, but still a very strong start. And Greg Langdale is one heck of a coach.
Yeah, they're not going to be as good up front. I mean, that's just a reality. They graduated some big, mean dudes who were on that offensive line, but the kids are all right, man. They're hanging tough. The coaching staff was really happy with how they played in the scrimmage last weekend, and obviously to go out and get this win on the road against a team that played for a state title last year, just like them, is a big deal. So that's a great start for Carleton Prep. I'm bullish that they're going to be right there in the mix in that region, and they're not going to make it easy for BA or Bethesda or anybody else. That's for sure. They're a good squad. Hilton Head Prep kind of took it on the chin tonight. I was really hopeful that was going to be a good matchup for them. There are not a lot of chances left on the schedule for them to get a W, but next week against St. Andrews is one of them, right? Is that they got St. Andrews next week? Am I right about that? Yeah. So that's another chance for them, and again, there are not a lot on that schedule, and that's nothing they can do about that. It's just pretty tough slate for them.
Side note that talking about some other games here in Skiza, I always like to kind of look and see what's going on around the area, because how about we typed them up, I believe, like a previous show or something similar. We're just talking about the car or something. But Northwood Academy getting their first win since 2019. 2019,
yeah,
over Greenwood Christian. I
got a final, Wes. I got good news. The final score: Ridgeland Jaguars 27, St. John's Islanders 12. The Jags get the dub. That's outstanding. That's outstanding, man. That's good stuff. They needed that one. I really do think that's with a little bit of confidence. That's a dangerous team. So that's a big win for them. Hope
Rodney Barr, he's been a great coach for a while. He was a great coach at Lower Richland. Sometimes it takes you time to really get the pieces where you want it to, but there's talent in this team, and Rodney Barr's starting to make the most of it, and to go out against the St. John's team on the road and play the way they did and win by a sizable margin is a fantastic sign for what's to come. So I think this Richland team is going to be that's a tough region. It's going to be hard to pull off a couple of those wins, but they can keep a couple ones close. You never know, and they've got the talent to try to push the hang with some of those guys. So not going to be easy this year, but getting that first win is absolutely enormous.
It is enormous, and now they get Creek next week on the road. I mean that's a fairly even matchup. I think they got a shot in that one. Certainly they'll be coming in, riding high, and Creek will be kind of licking their wounds. So it could be a big game for the Jags, and then they get Whale Branch after that. So it's huge to win that first game, man. Especially when you only won one last year, and now you're sitting on one already. That's big time. So those guys have to be feeling good tonight. They're going to be enjoying it this weekend, but then back to work on Monday because they got another tough one against Creek coming up. But that is all the games for tonight, Wes. We got through them all. So let's give a few little shout outs. We don't have a lot of stats to work with at this point because we're still trying to. Everybody's kind of trying to get in the groove, but you got to.
I don't have any stats, but I have a absolute certainty where I'm going to go with this one, and you got to go with the man who shines when the lights are the brightest in the biggest games that he plays. And it's Christian Tilton, 4 TD Christian Tilton, taking over the game when it matters, carrying the team on his back, and a huge victory for that program, as Marcus Walsh told us, over Thomas Hayward. 4 total scores, absolute dominant offensive display, and just a will to take over a game when it matters with a lot on the line. So Christian Tilton's a superstar, such an electric guy to watch, and I think Coach Mulligan's getting the most out of him and even more. So what a start for Tilton, and he was absolutely the difference in pulling JP2 over the edge and winning this opener.
Well, we say that Ridgeland Hardyville won, but that's based on Max Preps, which also says Colleton won 21-20. So go figure. They didn't. Hampton won 10-0. Player of the week, man. I'm kind of struggling because I don't have a lot of stats, so I really don't know. So I got to go with what I saw, I guess. And you know, what's that?
I'll give you another one if you want.
I was gonna just go with what I saw.
Yeah.
I was gonna give Zion Dobson some love. Yeah. He had some nice runs. They had some issues with the timing. He did put it on the ground a couple of times, but you know, there's something to be said too for putting it on the ground and then keeping on toting the rock and putting it in the end zone there in the second half. And we do have, if I can pull it up, his touchdown run, and more importantly, we have the one that got called back. They said he stepped out on the 40, but I don't think he did. Let's see if we can get it up here. This is from our guy, Justin. I do not believe he steps out of bounds here. You be the judge. I don't know. Looked like he stayed in, but he did get it in the end zone anyway. If I can get that one up. But Zion looked good. He's a big strong back. He's going to be a real issue this year for a lot of people. And nope, that's the same one. There's the touchdown. The only touchdown of the game there from Zion Dobson. So I guess I'll give him my player of the week, but you certainly could shout out somebody from Hilton Head because those guys had a heck of a game.
Start with Shaq Thompson with a great game defensively. There, I could name a couple, like 3 or 4 guys.
LJ Morgan, a scoop and score, yeah.
Yep, and then Bybee was excellent. 3 touchdown passes, including that 90-yard bomb to Javarian Hamilton, and Jake Huggins got 2. And the way he, converted those, especially that throw on the run, that was a high difficulty play. And then 60 yards from Bybee to Huggins in the fourth quarter. And then you mentioned LJ Morgan with the last play of the game, scoop and score. So that's 2 in the game for Hilton Head, defensive touchdown. So all 3 phases, dominant effort for Hilton Head.
Here's another one. Devontae Green. Apparently he had 2 long rushing touchdowns and the greatest one-handed pick 6 you will ever see. So we'll give Devontae a little love too. I look forward to seeing that clip, Mr. Howell. Go ahead and send that over. We'll look forward to seeing that one. But so there's some love. Any other helmet stickers you want to hand out? Anybody else catch your eye?
Yeah,
waiting on stats. I got to see the stats.
Yeah, Damian Freeman had a nice game for Battery Creek. He had that kickoff return. He was able to make a couple eye-popping plays happen, but Hilton defense played well against them. Nathan Ampey with a fumble recovery touchdown on a kickoff for Hilton High. I'm trying to pull up another guy's name between segments, if I can pick up who it was defensively for Hilton Head.
I'll shout out a couple guys while you're looking. Carson
Haynes had a pick. I think he had one at the beginning that was called back at a penalty. So he had a productive game on defense, and there are a lot of others that you could choose from for this Hilton Head team. It was, as I said, a total team effort. And Battery Creek, other than that one kickoff return touchdown, I mean, they were completely shut down in offense. So you can give one to pretty much all 11 guys on that defense for what they're able to do at Creek to start off the season. So we said this was a team that a lot of people are going to sleep on. And Marcus Walsh said it as well in our preview. We talked about the Bufords, the Bluftons. This Hilton Head team, they're just creeping a little bit. I mean, they got a strong quarterback in Bybee. They got a hard-nosed defense. That's going to be obviously Creek. I don't think they're at the level of most of those 4A teams, but you got to like what you saw in all 3 phases for this BJ Pancoach team.
Yeah, we said it. They're going to be better than you think they are. I think they're going to sneak up on some people, but we shall see. And then you said all 11 guys on the defense. I could do the same for Hampton. And really for a bunch of guys on that Carleton defense too. Nick Williams, I'll give him a helmet sticker. Kayvon and Mickey Mandrell Sanders were beasting. They're really good. Zimone Lofties had some nice plays. They're getting him involved a lot on the jet sweep. Josh Goodman with a nice reception and long run off of it. So, and Chris Terry looked good under center too, which I don't know that he's going to be the guy all year there, but it's nice to have two. It's a good problem to have for sure. And you saw it tonight with Bays going out. It happens. Guys get dinged up, and when you have a big drop off from number 1 to number 2 at quarterback, and you got to make that move, it can catch up to you real quick. But it was a great night of high school football, and we get to do it again next week, Wes. I do not have the schedule. There it is. There's the schedule. Week 1, looking ahead. Got some decent games on the schedule, including Fort D at Beaufort, which should be a great one. Hilton Head Prep at BA, and another Lowco on Lowco. That'll be on WHHI. Other Lowco on Lowco matchups. Ridgeland at Battery Creek.
We also get to see the debut of both Whale Branch and May River. We haven't seen it.
Yeah. May River on that new home turf against West Ashley. Whale Branch on the road at North Charleston. I think they played out on Thursday, actually, instead of Friday.
Northwood Charleston, that could be an interesting one. Northwood just coming off that the first one, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're favored, but Northwood, they're flying high right now.
Northwood's much improved. Johnny Rivers is doing a good job there. They're going to be pretty tough. Colleton White Knoll is an interesting one too. I mean, you got some interesting matchups. Maybe not quite as attractive as this week's. Just fewer Lowco on Lowcos, fewer really exciting matchups. But sometimes those are the weeks that surprise you. You end up having a bunch of Donnybrooks. So we shall see. It'll be here soon enough. So we'll get all this stuff rounded up for you and on the website. We'll have Lowco First Down coming out as soon as we can get the basic facts, and we'll have gamers on our big games that we covered, as well as a little more content coming out. And Monday we'll have that Lowco football spotlight newsletter, and then we'll come back around on Friday and hit you with game day and get ready for kickoff again Friday night.
Great start to the season. I mean, we had some quality game. I mean, definitely a couple of lopsided ones, but Beaufort Academy really stands out. What they're able to do there to get that win. 2 weeks in a row to start off playing the first game out of anyone. Hilton Head came away from this week really impressed by them. Both Hampton and Colleton County played very well, and then Colleton Prep, a big statement win once again, just like they did last year for Florence Christian. So a lot to be excited about. A couple teams taking care of business. Bluffton, Patrick Henry, Beaufort suffering a slightly surprising result, but you can't really take that for much. That's a team that we know is going to get better as this year goes on. So a lot to like around Lowco, and cool to see for you to see the debut of for an inaugural game for Hampton County, and it comes out for a W.
Yeah, and the debut for Kinlock too. It was cool to see him in his element, and I'll tell you, they're hyped up there, man. The Colleton, they turned out tonight. Hampton traveled exceptionally well. They filled up the visitor side. It was good. It was real good.
And thanks to Marcus Walsh for his
absolutely.
What a game that was.
I also got to give a helmet sticker to the Colleton student section for their sign that said, "At least we have a Walmart." That was pretty good. Pretty good sign. So we'll have to see if anybody can top that as far as student section signs this season. But thanks so much, as you mentioned, to Marcus Walsh for jumping in with us, as well as Jeff Strickland talking Patrick Henry with us. Looking forward to having him with us more this season. Thanks to all of our sponsors who make it all possible. And thanks to y'all for showing up to listen or watch. If you want to jump on with us in coming weeks and tell us about the game you're at, just hit us up wherever you can find us, locosports@gmail.com, DM us, tweet us, whatever, and we'll get you the link next week. We'll get you on here, let you tell us about the game you were at. So it was a good time. Look forward to doing it again next week, but I am ready for bed, buddy. I don't know about you. It's been a long day. Yeah. So let's call it a night, and we will reconvene next week for Lowco Pigskin Live. For Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.